Hi everyone, this is Nick with another video on how you can improve your trading, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different, and I put out a tweet last week asking for anybody to share the thing that's holding them back in their trading, and I figured that this might be a little bit more personal. If you're going through the same issues, then you can benefit from it, and if not, you can, the people who tweet me hopefully will get the most out of this. So I thought I'd make a video on it. This was the tweet I put out. If you have any underlying trading issues that you think are holding you back, go and find this tweet. It's on my profile. I'll pin it to my main account. Go and follow me. Comment below, or you can also comment in this video. What is holding your trading back right now? And I will make more videos like this in the future that will help you out with your specific needs. This is essentially a snippet of free coaching for you guys. So if you have anything, just put it down there and I can go through it and give some suggestions. The first one, Mario sent me, and he said that mental stamina and focus begins to rapidly drop off after 1, 2 p.m. market time, causing poor execution. And I thought this would be quite an interesting one to start off with because I remember when I traded small caps and even when I traded large caps, the problem that I actually had was very similar to this, where in the morning I'd be super focused and then gradually that would deteriorate, and then in the afternoon session I would make mistakes. I'm just going to share some of the things that I did that helped me during that time, and also things that I looked into after I finished trading those markets that would have helped me a lot in the time. So the first thing is willpower is not infinite. I like to look at it as a case of at the start of the day, you might be at 100 out of 100 for willpower. Every single time you have to stop yourself from taking a trade. Every single time you have to say, I'm not going to get FOMO, or no, I'm not going to get in early this time. You are fighting against yourself. You're fighting against your natural instincts. And the more you battle those weaknesses, those natural instincts, the weaker your willpower becomes. And quite often, you will actually enter the day only at like a 70 out of 100 or 50 out of 100. And then in the first hour or two, you fight a lot. And by the end of that hour, 2 hours, you're completely spent. You feel mentally exhausted. And that's when you begin to make a ton of bad decisions. So the first thing is you need to resolve the underlying thoughts so you don't waste energy on them. The very last slide on the last topic we'll cover today goes through a process that you can do for that. So make sure to look at that in the end. But you need to not fight FOMO, not fight the weakness. You need to actually resolve it. You need to figure out what those underlying thoughts are that make you want to take a trade, and you need to figure out why they're there and resolve them. A really good book for this is also The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler. It's an amazing book. I'd highly recommend it. So go and check that out. But you need to stop fighting and resolve those issues which are eating away at your willpower. Some other practical advice is if you understand where your edge is strongest, you can focus more in these moments. I put out a video about a week ago on how to trade like a blackjack card counter, and the whole idea of this was understand the situations in which your edge provides you the best opportunities, because it will not be most of the time. Most of the time it will probably be not particularly good. And what you can practice doing is saying, okay, I know that my edge is really strong during the first hour of the day when there's a lot of volatility, and therefore I'm going to put in all my focus into that first hour, and I'm not even going to bother looking after that. I'm going to be aware of what's going on, but I'm not actually going to look to trade. Or it might be that, you know what, my edge actually performs really badly in the first hour because it's too volatile. Those initial moves stop me out a lot, and I actually perform a lot better, and the edge performs a lot better after, say, the first hour and a half has gone by. So what you can then do is say, okay, I'm not even going to try and trade that first hour. The edge isn't strong enough in there for me to actually take trades, and instead I'm going to wait. I'm going to preserve my mental energy for the next hour and for the rest of the day. a really good practice to get into is to try and write down the thoughts and actions that you start to think, you start to do at different levels of mental fatigue. So if a 0 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10, you're like, I'm very aware of when I'm making when I might make a mistake and I can avoid it quite easily, and I'm hyper focused. But at a 3 out of 10, you're starting to go, some thoughts begin to sneak in like, oh, maybe this could happen, so I should look at this instead, right? Or, you know, I could just take small size on this and it doesn't really matter if it's a loss. That might be a 3 out of 10. At a 5 out of 10, you might begin actually taking those trades. At a 7 out of 10, you might completely ignore, maybe some of the rules you have in your strategy. Begin to work out for you, okay, what do I look like at a 3 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, a 7 out of 10? And then once you've got that profile, have it next to you. And then all you do is throughout the day, you just catch yourself and go, okay, where am I at? Oh, I've just had this thought. That makes me a 4 out of 10. Oh, I've just had this thought. It makes me a 7 out of 10. I should definitely back off and maybe stop trading. And your goal is to just say, okay, once you catch the 5 out of 10 thoughts, you need to either finish trading for the day or at least take a break. And sometimes just being aware of this keeps you lower than a 5 out of 10. So it's a good habit to get into. And then a couple of questions I actually have for Mario is, after 1, 2 p.m., if you're in the States, that's after lunch, have you just had a big lunch? What do you eat, at this time, or what do you eat before the market? Because if you've gone away and it's like, right, between 12 and 1 is when I eat lunch, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go away, I'm going to have a double cheeseburger and fries, well, you're going to be lethargic because your body is having to digest that food. So you're definitely going to come back, and your mental and your willpower is going to be very, very low because your body isn't really focused on thinking. It's focused on digesting the food you've just put into it. Same with really sugary foods. So if you've gone and had, like, this applies to people, like if you have, or it applies to people before the market, if you go and have a stack of pancakes before you trade, you filled your body with a ton of sugar and a ton of carbs that it's now got to process, and that first half an hour, you're probably not going to trade particularly well. And then after that, you might have a sugar crash, in which case, again, you're going to end up trading worse and worse. So really consider, what are you eating? I'm really, really big on trying to keep the meal before I trade something fairly simple, something that is slow burning, but not too heavy. Okay, having a lean protein source and simple carbohydrates and not having a huge amount is really good. And making sure you also say, I'm going to have it at least half an hour before I trade, or an hour before you trade, ideally, so that you're not digesting that. And then the same goes the other way. If you don't eat anything for lunch and you're getting to that point, 1, 2 p.m., you're kind of hungry now. Well, your mind's going to be a little bit on, what can I go and eat? That willpower is going to be drained pretty quickly because of that. So really consider that. And then finally, do you do any exercises during the day? I actually suggest in my course, the blueprint, in my suggestion for how you should prepare for the market, I put in there that you should probably do some light exercise. It wakes you up. It sort of recharges your battery a little bit. It could be a case of, you say, okay, from let's go, throughout all this, and say my edge performs really badly between 11 a.m. and 12:30. Okay, during that time, you're going to have a light meal and then go for a 20-minute walk, or you're going to go round your house or apartment or whatever, and you're going to tidy up. You're just going to do something that gets you moving, gets you feeling good, and then when you come back, you're recharged. So looking at your routine can also help. This applies to anybody. If you work a 9 to 5 desk job, you will know that the afternoon you feel tired, your willpower is drained. If you were to have at lunch said, I'm going to have something simple for lunch and I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk, you're going to come back feeling refreshed. So good thing there. Next point came from Point Sniper, who actually made a suggestion as well. He said, what I'm working on now and mildly successful is cherry picking the trades I take. This immediately is actually something really important. And again, the video I put out last week on how to trade like a blackjack card counter very much looks at this. So there isn't too much to this. I think it's just a really good point that he's made. But the way you can do this and where you can slip up is important. So firstly, don't rely on you, right? as we discussed on the last point, there are going to be times where mentally we're not very strong, we're not very aware of what's going on. That's fine. Okay, that's part of us. So don't rely on ourselves. Make it a system. Find out the time when your edge is actually stronger. If you have, collected 100 trades, 200 trades of data, then you can go and say, when are my winners actually happening? And if you find that there's a pattern and saying, you know what, a lot of my trades that made a lot of money over the last 6 months came during this specific market condition, well, when that market comes along, you can trade a lot. And when maybe the opposite type of market comes along, you don't trade at all. So just become really aware of what conditions your edge does really well in, what times it does well in, these kind of things. And then you can, instead of going, oh, this trade looks really nice, you can go, the conditions are A plus, the particular setup on this stock or this chart or whatever is A plus. So therefore, if we get a trade, I can take this because I know it's in this sort of basket of really good trades. Now, the next thing you can do as well is you can size up on your A plus setup. So when we have that perfect conditions on the daily chart or your higher time frame, perfect conditions in the market overall, and you also get a really clean setup that you're looking for, well, you could take bigger size on that. You might say, okay, on those setups, I'm going to take 2% risk, 3% risk, 4% risk, whatever it is. And then when you have setups that are not so good, but are still profitable, you can go, okay, I'm going to actually take only 1% risk on these. The market conditions are good, but they're not perfect. The setup is really clean. So it's definitely something I want to take. I think it's going to make me money, but it's not ideal. Take 1% on those. And then when you have a situation where it's like the market conditions suck for this and I have not got the A plus setup that I'm looking for, don't take it. And, just you could paper trade that. You could at least mark it where you get in and out. And I think this is quite important because if you still track those trades, you go, I would have entered here if I was trading it. You still get that little dopamine release of finding out what it does, right? Because sometimes I want to take this trade to see if it works or not. Okay. And if you can still get that little dopamine release by watching it and going, oh, I would have been right or I would have been wrong. That's still really good. And of course, you then build up more and more data so you can reaffirm when your edge performs well or not. All of this leads to me saying, don't guess. Don't guess what is the A plus setups and what isn't. Because what will end up happening is there'll be a day where you'll go, oh, this one doesn't look good and it works. And then you go, that one's going to be my A plus trade from now on. And then the next day you take it and all of a sudden you get into a situation where you're taking every single trade because you saw it work once. So you need to actually have a system to make sure that you're not just cherry picking based on what you see, you're cherry picking based on the data. And just be aware that some days you're going to be really good at this and other days you're going to suck. It's part of trading, it's part of being human. You could come in and let's say, for example, you get COVID, right? And you take a few days off, you're starting to feel a little bit better, but you're only at a 6 out of 10. I actually did this exact thing about this time last year. I got COVID. I was like, I'm going to take a few days off, but I feel okay. I'm going to trade. I made horrible decisions because I was just taking anything. My willpower was super low and I wasn't able to cherry pick. So be really aware that some days you're going to be good at it, some days you're not. And all you can do is keep on building data, keep on building those repetitions to get better at it over time. And then the final one came from Kapil, who put his thing that's holding it back is emotional response and fear of losing. I kind of put these together because emotional response, that covers everything. So I'm more looking at the fear of losing on this, but you can kind of apply the last slide that I'm going to show after the next one to any emotional response. So for fear of losing specifically, I always suggest to become more aware of your edge. If you have a ton of data, you've back tested it, and you know the percentage or the likelihood of you having a winning trade, it makes it easier when you take a loss. If you know that your edge has a 50% chance of winning, then you also know you have a 50% chance of losing. And although losing isn't going to be nice, you can at least say, I know that this is going to win half the time, and I know it's going to lose half the time. So you become slightly, you just become more aware that losing is part of this, it's part of my edge, and it still makes money, so a loss isn't the end of the world. You also want to begin attaching your success to accuracy rather than P&L, and this is huge. This for me was the biggest thing that I changed in my trading that really helped me out. Instead of going, oh, I lost here, I won here, I would go, I now go, okay, did I execute this trade spot on? And if I did, I give myself a 1. If I didn't, I give myself a 0. And then throughout at the end of the week, I'll go, you know what, this week was good. I traded at a 92% accuracy. Or this week was bad. I traded at 65% accuracy. Where did I make the mistakes? I don't really look at the P&L all that much because I know that if I trade at a 90% or higher accuracy rate, at the end of the month, I'm going to make money, right? So that fear of losing begins to just drain away because the focus is, you know what? It doesn't matter if I win or lose on this because I executed my edge well on this trade. And make sure you're tracking this. Don't just try and do it. Every single trade you take, have something in your journal that goes, was this a good trade? Yes or no. I like 1 or 0. Make it binary. And then finally, something you can do is build a sim that will show you the drawdowns you can expect. What I'll do is I'll get mine up and add it to the end of this video just to show you. You know, you can make fairly simple Excel spreadsheets that do this. And in fact, I'll grab mine up now and show you. Okay, and so this is the sim that I created, and you know, you might need to do a bit of research into this, but essentially I created some, this is slightly more complex. This is a random number generator between 0 and 100. If it provides me a number between 0 and 50, then I get type 1, which means a 1.8. If it goes above that, it will give me a type 2.5. If this number is over 50, then it's a winner. If it's below 50, it's a loser. And I believe if this number is over 50, then it doubles the overall return on my bigger trades, because some of my bigger trades I will take, or on all my bigger trades, ideally I take bigger size on. However, on this sim specifically, I was testing to see the times I wouldn't. And all you need to do is just change something on it. So if you just type in a letter, boom, you can then see, oh, okay, so in these 31 trades, the peak profit was at 9.5, okay? And it got to that in trade 7. And then over this period, it had pretty small drawdowns. It went to a 6-hour drawdown, and then down here it got to a negative 6.6-hour drawdown, and we ended up at plus 3.5 on this exact run. Okay, if we do again, well, on this one a bit different. Over these same 31 trades, this is a 50% win percentage strategy. You ended up with 30R, and when you do this, you can just get a better idea of, okay, what can I actually expect? And you can see that 31 trades, we went on a 9.4R drawdown, but we hit 15.8 profit at the end of it. This one, 13R at the end of it. This one, 18R at the end of it. And the drawdowns, right, the max drawdowns, this max drawdown hits 10 or 11, but we still end up 31R. So it's a really good idea to do this just to get an idea of what your edge actually looks like. And maybe I'll make a video on how to do that as well if there's interest in it. But just build things that will reassure you of how your edge actually performs. Now, the resolution for fear of losing. This is really important, and like I said, you can apply this to any emotional response you have. So just replace the fear of losing bits with the other bits. So number one's actually write out what the problem is itself. And this is from Jared Hendler's book as well. So definitely check out The Mental Game of Trading if you want to learn more about this. It is the best way to resolve these kind of issues. So number one, what is the issue? Number two, why does it make sense to fear losing? So maybe it's linked to your account size. Maybe it's linked to you feeling like you've made no progress. Maybe it's linked to you losing an amount of money you're not comfortable with. Whatever it is, why does it make sense? And that is not a trick question. You have to just sit back and go, why do I have this? Why does it make sense? What you then do is say, why is that reason toxic, right? Why is the thought of, oh my God, I could blow my account if I keep on losing, why is that toxic? Well, if you're only risking 1%, then you're not actually going to blow your account. It's going to take 100 and something trades of losing in a row to blow the account, right? So maybe it could be a case of saying, well, progress isn't actually measured by my P&L, but it's measured by my learning, and I learn when I lose. Maybe it could be the money I'm losing I've already put into the account, so I don't actually have that. So if I lose it, then whatever, right? maybe it could just simply be a case of I can't be successful if I don't lose sometimes. If I never lose, then I'm never going to trade because I know my strategy has a 40, 50, 60% chance of losing. So then what you want to do is you go, okay, that thought process doesn't work. It causes mistakes. What is the ideal thought process to have instead, and why is this thought process correct? And this takes time because the first thing you write down probably won't be strong enough, but you want something that in the moment you can actually use and go, oh my God, I don't want to take the trade because I lose. Bang, you put in that new ideal thought process and it removes a lot of the emotion. And then what you really want to do is get very, very good at spotting the underlying weakness and practice implementing a new thought process. So again, write down 1 to 10 what fear of losing looks and feels like for you. And just periodically go, okay, where am I at right now after 15 minutes? Oh, I'm at a 3 out of 10. Okay, I'm going to read out, if I hit a 3 out of 10, I'm going to read out my ideal thought process and I'm going to believe in it. I'm going to make sure that I'm going, this is the right way of thinking. I need to think like this. You get really good at that, repeating it every 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or you just get good enough to go, oh, you know what? I'm having those thoughts at a 4 out of 10. I'm going to read it through my better thought process. The more you do this, the better you get. Okay? And it takes time. You need to do this very often. And a really good trick as well is to do this through meditation and also to not just do it when you have a trade, right? If you notice that that underlying negative thought that you have shows up during other times, make sure you catch it and use it then. So they were just a few of the few topics. I really love these kind of videos because I want to help as many of you as possible. So if you've got something that is holding your trading back, comment down below. Send me a tweet, reply to that tweet, reach out to me and say, Nick, I'm struggling with this. I don't know what to do. And I'll include it in the next video to try and help you out as much as possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Just adding a quick piece in here to let you know what extra services I have to help you become a better trader. On my site, guidedtradingmeditations.com, you can find my new course, The Trading Blueprint, which gives you a full guide on how to create an edge, test it, start trading it, and scale up. There are sections included on how to find weaknesses in your trading and then how to resolve them, as well as many other bits of information that I've gathered in my years of experience. The aim of the course is to make you a fully independent trader so you don't need to pay ever-growing monthly fees to be in a chat room. There's no specific edge needed. You can use this in any market with any trading style. If you're at a stage in your trading where you're struggling and would prefer a more in-depth look at your own personal weaknesses and ongoing support, you can also book one-on-one coaching with me on the site. There's a cool breakdown on the screen right now, so pause the video and read through it, and if it's something you're interested in, check it out. There's a ton of other content on the site that I'm really proud of and I've really enjoyed making, so if you're interested, please check it out. I'm sure there'll be something on there that can help your trading. You can reach me on Twitter. My handle is in the description down below. You can send me a DM if you'd like any more information. And make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with future videos.